Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello, welcome to August, or whatever the heck it is out there. We're heading up to almost 80 degrees. Yeah. And driving in, it's November. If you look across the river at, our astonishing hillsides, they're all still green. They're green. They're not even turned color. Well, I tell you, the verities, I think that's what I meant, the verities of life are in flux. What's going to happen tomorrow? The sun will come up in the west? What's happening? It shouldn't be a surprise if it does. So, I heard the other day that jerk gazillionaire who, Silicon Valley, who's for Trump, Thiel, is that his name? He was explaining something to somebody, and he dismissed a whole bunch of people as, get this, single-digit millionaires. That's just to put things in perspective for you. Single-digit millionaires, it's like, I mean, they're a dime a dozen, to stay on the monetary metaphor. They're a dime a dozen. Single-digit millionaires. What? He's got 6 million? Is he on food stamps? So I've been thinking about millionaires. By the way, hi, it's Wednesday. It's November 2nd. And we're in a week's time. It'll be the day after. Never thought we'd get there. So anyway, I've been thinking about millionaires a lot because there are more of them. And they do seem to be everywhere, especially those pesky single-digit millionaires. But what I really want to talk about are, I think, the other ones. Or not. I'm not sure. My son pointed out yesterday when we were watching something on TV and it went to a commercial break, and we both steeled ourselves for what was about to happen. For me to be yearning for Viagra ads again it just shows you where we've gotten ourselves. So there they come, McGinty, Toomey, back to back, cheek to jowl. And he pointed out, he said, so they both call each other millionaires. She's a millionaire, his ads say. Her ads say, he's a millionaire. And it strikes me that is true. I think they're both single digit. I'm not sure, but I think it might just be single digit, so it's not that big a deal. But so millionaire is, it used to be aspirational in this country. Oh, someday I'll be a millionaire. Now it is a term of denigration during the electoral season. Actually, there's other terms too there's one, Toomey has an ad in which he calls McGinty, I guess, a millionaire, this, that, and then a registered lobbyist. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't, isn't that funny that that's now, it's like calling her a child abuser, a rapist and murderer, a millionaire, and a registered lobbyist. Let's not forget investment banker. And yet, in most of America, people still think that those people are, wow, look what they did. By dint of hard work and energy when in all likelihood it's by dint of connections, being born in the right place to the right parents. There was this really dispiriting piece in Sunday's, I think, Times about losing out at birth by losing the birth lottery. And it just took you to the realities of 3 American kids. Bright young kids. 8, 9, 10. I don't remember what their ages were. And by just luck of the draw, sorry, they got born to the wrong people. They got born in the wrong zip code. You ever think about that? This is where that phrase, born on, born on third base and think they hit a home run, whatever the hell it is. It's silver spoon stuff. There are so many Americans who have done very well and have achieved a lot, and an extraordinary number of them refuse to acknowledge that they won the birth lottery. And when you win the birth lottery and then fuck up, it is a shame. Since some other poor soul who didn't win, who could have had all your advantages, might have, who knows what, cured cancer. So, I don't know what I'm talking about today. I'm all over the place. Here's the other thing. You're traveling through the recesses of my discombobulated mind. I can tell it's going to be a stream of consciousness, which, given where my head's been lately, could be really frightening. So fasten your seatbelts. Hey, this is something I saw, she said, interrupting herself, that really mixed me up. Trump is now telling people who voted early to change, if they voted for Hillary, to change their vote. I thought, wait a minute. You can do that? Well, I can't do that. If I go vote on election day at 10 a.m., and then somebody gets hold of me at noon that I have lunch with and totally turns my head around, I can't go back to the polling place. Excuse me, I would like to vote again to change I would like to. Can't do that. But guess what? It turns out you can. In 4 states. 4 states say, oh, up until I guess the last minute, feel free. And guess what one of the states is? Pennsylvania. And I thought, what? Pennsylvania doesn't even let people vote early. How can they? Oh, wait, we do absentee ballots. So it turns out, I guess, I don't have a lot of information here, but apparently in Pennsylvania, it's all these states that they want to get to. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Those are the 4 states. They are allowed to rescind their earlier ballot. Well, how would you do that? I can't imagine the bureaucratic craziness of that. That seems like the craziest thing I've ever heard. Is that not the craziest thing you ever heard? And we're one of, 4 states. First of all, we make it very hard for people to vote. And we, don't allow early voting, all of that. But we do allow somebody to change their ballot after the fact. I find that extraordinary. And I'm, as they say, gobsmacked. I didn't think that would be anything that any state would say is a good idea. Talk about a Pandora's box. Talk about a bureaucratic nightmare. Talk about it don't make no sense. You cast your ballot, you stick it in the little box, or you send it off into the ether, whatever you do, and then it's done. That's the way it's always worked. That's the way we assumed it worked. Who knew? Things we're learning. Okay, this came in after the show yesterday, and I wanted to share it with you. This is from Beth. With all the issues with email, I was saying yesterday that a lot of people are now saying no one in their right mind in business, in politics, is going to use the email anymore. I mean, if you want it to, send somebody a grocery list or something like that, maybe that's okay, but nothing that you would want anybody to get their hands on. So we were saying, rest in peace, email. We now understand, totally unsecured. So Beth says, with all these issues, I wonder why the marketing department of the U.S. Postal Service isn't running ads like this. Our mail can't be hacked. Well, you could say our mail can get lost. Whatever. Our mail can't be hacked. Or a warrant is needed to read this mail. Or when you write a letter to a person, it is a communication just between the two of you. And she's got another line. No data collection with our service. There is something to be said. People are saying that, well, maybe what this means is we're just going to go back to, put things in writing and send them off. It is a lot more secure. A lot more secure. And anyone who's still putting anything in an email that they don't want anybody else to read is, well, you're reckless. Or you don't give a damn. I hope it's the latter. Anyway, Beth, I think that's a good idea. She says, looks like a perfect time for the Postal Service to bring up the benefits of the good old snail mail system. Oh, so, wait. Millionaires. Single digit or otherwise. Actually, it's otherwise I'm thinking of. And I'm also thinking of the impact of the big guy's money in our electoral process, something that certainly we've been talking about for years and years, and especially since Citizens United, one of the most loathsome, wrong-headed opinions to come out of the United States Supreme Court since its inception, it'll go down there with Dred Scott. Not kidding. That's how evil, awful, and flat out incorrect it is. Citizens United, which, as you know, opened up the spigots, allowing as much money as any person and or company and or union and or super PAC or anybody else who's sitting on big hunks of money, absolutely blew the limit, the cap off, and said go for it, because essentially every dollar is really speech. And to in any way put an impediment in the path of our bazillionaires to spend as much of their bazillions trying to affect the result of a national election. Well, I forgot where that sentence started. It's free speech. I couldn't remember if I was supposed to, but anyway. But you get my, if that was sarcasm. So this is interesting. There's something called the Conference Board Committee for Economic Development. These are guys that, crunch numbers and look for trends and actually look for information that numbers put out. And here's what they found, and this is amazing. Since Citizens United, yes, a ton of money is coming in to these political campaigns, but it ain't coming from unions. It ain't coming from trade groups. It ain't even coming from corporations. It's coming from the gazillion heirs. It's coming from a handful of, a basket of hugely wealthy, the kind of people who would understand what Thiel meant when he said single-digit millionaire. They're the ones who Citizens United unleashed. And get this, the study done by this Committee for Economic Development found that through July 31, for the 19 months heading up to almost now, I mean, obviously it's not taking in the last 3 months, but they didn't have those numbers. But look at where the money was coming from in those 19 months, and oh my God, 80% is coming from individuals. 80% of those huge outlays of money, it is wealthy individuals that are driving the large sums being spent on election. It is wealthy individuals that are paying for those ads, which are driving us all insane. It is wealthy individuals. That's who's doing it. You know, a lot of times when people trot this stuff out, the Republicans will say, well, let's just allow so corporations get to throw their money in, and unions, they throw their money in, and God knows they got money. Oh, no, they don't. You know what percentage is made up of union? Less than 2%. 80% individuals, meaning rich people. 2% unions, less than 2% unions, which represents, of course, little working class people. And even corporations, I think, by virtue of the fact that this election is so noxious, are pretty much sitting it out too, just 8% coming from corporations. So, there you have it. And since these guys can now raise unlimited sums, they aren't going begging to unions and companies as much as they're going to those gated estates where certain people with more money than any human being needs live. Ugh. Corinne says absentee ballots are not permitted to be opened until the polls close in case a voter comes in person. That has been the case for many a year. In-person vote tops a mail vote. Oh, so is that maybe what he's saying here? So even if you put in an absentee ballot, you can still show up at the polls and vote again. Well, isn't it? Well, okay, I'm not going to. Thank you for that information. And Margie says, go Cubbies! Yeah. Man, the Chicago Cubs, they don't make it easy to root for them. Man, it's heart attack city. It's ridiculous. So they got it down to one game, and they won more games this year than anybody else. And so one game shouldn't be that big a deal for him. Just one more, Cubbies. One more. And I'm sorry for the Indians, but until you guys get that bucktooth awful face off your sleeves, off your helmets, off your caps, I simply can't root for you. It's extraordinary that that's still there. I mean, really. It's like having, step and fetch it up on your... it's mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. Okay, so where are we? Boy, you guys are quiet today. Are you outside enjoying this last... I bet. I would be too. I might be before it's over. So, let's see. What else I got here? Tom Friedman in today's New York Times says, "This is the last column I get to write before the election, so I'm just going to please, I'm just going to beg. I'm going to beg people. Don't vote for him, please don't vote for him." This essentially boils it down. Poor Tom. And he just... when I started the column, I thought, well, Trump voters don't read the New York Times, Tom. And he obviously heard me say that because he says this. "This is my last column until after the election, so I'd like to address the people least likely to read it." Right. Yeah. Maybe I'll get lucky and a few of them will buy fish wrapped in the column and then they'll accidentally see it. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and then he just goes into this please, like laying it out, And of course, because of the way this election is, he starts not by getting on Trump. He starts by, of course, trotting out all of Hillary's flaws. Like, we have to do that first. Like, now I know she is flawed. Yeah, she is. She's flawed. I'm flawed. You're flawed. Ha ha. I feel with absolute certainty I can say that. You are flawed. All right, so we'll start with that. Hillary's a human being. But here's how he sees her flaws. She has a weakness for secrecy. For secrecy, check. She occasionally fudges the truth, check. She has fawning aides and a husband who lacks discipline when it comes to money-making and women, check. That's as far as he gets. And then he says, but she is not indecent. And that is an important distinction. And she's studious. She sought out people of substance on every issue and has taken the job of running for president seriously. Trump, he says, is not only a flawed politician, he's an indecent human being. And then he gets going. He just starts. You could write 25 pages about the indecent human being aspect of Donald Trump, and and end with this sentence that he gets to halfway through his column: "We have never seen such behaviors in a presidential candidate." The problem always with this stuff is that it does lower the bar. The problem with somebody like a Trump, in terms of the permanent damage he's doing, is that he was very successful doing it. And so others coming after him are not going to see his campaign as a textbook of how to lose, assuming he does. They're going to see it as a pretty damn good case study of how to run an insurgency. That's my bet. And they'll take lessons from where he went astray, because he went astray with the scuzz buckety sex stuff. That's what. If that tape hadn't come out, the tape on the bus, the grabbing their you-know-whats, what would the race look like right now? I ain't so sure. Anyway, here's the last paragraph he wrote before his head hit the keyboard and he began sobbing uncontrollably. While Clinton has failed to inspire, her instincts and ideas will keep us hewing to basically the right course. And however great her flaws, she is still in the zone of human decency. Trump is not. We can never be great as a country with a president with the warped values of Donald Trump. I pray. See, when Friedman starts praying at the end, this is a terrified man. I think he really... Somebody go check on him. Anybody seen Tom today? I pray that in the end, at least some Trump voters, my fellow Americans, will see that he's indecent. The worrisome thing that's coming out about the early voting stuff is that black Americans are not voting anywhere near at the levels they voted for 4 years ago, 8 years ago. And I don't, of course. I mean, sorry. They were voting for something they never thought they'd see in their lifetime. They were voting for another black person to be president. That gets you out. But don't discount the fact that a lot of women are going to be showing up for Hillary for the same kind of reason. I think we'll see Michelle and Barack all over the place this week, talking specifically to black audiences, telling them, hey, you consider this a vote for Barack, because that's how he's looking at it. His legacy goes right down the tubes if the country turns around after 8 years of Obama presidency and votes for Donald Trump. It's a repudiation that would be a total repudiation of Barack Obama's tenure. So black people got to understand that. One of the places where they're seeing Ohio, Cleveland, yoo-hoo, Cleveland. I know you've had a lot of distractions lately, but hey, Cleveland, that's one of the places that blacks are not coming out. So, come on, guys. Come on. Help us out. Help us out. You don't want to see a bunch of angry white men win, do you? No, I don't either. Okay, so the big story out today is the shooting of these two police officers just gunned down, sitting in their patrol cars in Iowa. One in a suburb of Des Moines, the other in Des Moines, I believe. We got a call? All right. Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Hey, you notice the news media, any other candidate would have to do the path that Donald Trump has to. He has to be a contortionist or something to do what to win. They would be saying, no, it's Hillary, But they're making it out like it's really a horse race, which I don't think it is.
It might not be, but, a lot of them are. There are certain, you turn to some networks for their news now, and you would think this was neck and neck and a nail biter.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I swear I just saw somewhere else, I just read somewhere else that his path to victory is nearly impossible. Which one of you guys is telling me the truth here?
Yeah.
Right. I've noticed it too. It certainly it serves television's interests to make people believe that this is extremely close, because it obviously keeps you glued to them, and they've lost so much credibility with so many of us that we become suspicious of absolutely everything they say, which is one of the great things we've lost. We've lost any faith that these institutions are functioning anymore.
Well, that's just like ABC had one. He's a point ahead of her, and the one guy that showed that survey monkey, she was like 6 or something. He said, well, they use a special kind of sauce when they make that poll. So that goes to tell you these polls are all done different, and it's going to slant one way or the other. And I think that survey monkey's a pretty accurate one.
Well, who knows? I mean, you're going to believe the one you want to believe.
Yeah, that's true too.
So I don't know. I mean, I've decided it's like living in the good old days when you didn't have a clue. I mean, I don't know. My assumption's going to be that we got to get the vote out. That's all. We gotta get those black people to vote. We got to get people who even are thinking this is disgusting out there. Vote. It's that important. Turnout is all there is now. It's the ground game going in. I don't know what to tell you, but I suspect my suspicion is that a lot of news media are ginning up this sense of a tightening race or even Trump pulling ahead as a way to make money.
They had an elderly lady sitting after she voted.
Yeah.
They had that Chris Jansen asked her. She said, "Aren't you surprised Hillary's not leading more? You know, really blowing him out?" And the lady said, "I'm not so sure she isn't." So that's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lot of TV that makes it look closer, like you say, to get the ratings up and everything.
Well, but, we could be sitting here in a week looking, shell-shocked.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows? I just prefer to believe that I don't know who to believe anymore.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Oi, bye.
Bye.
Bye. So my damn spell checks, I just said oi again. My damn spell check says I'm saying oi in a lot of messages, and that seems to be my reaction to everything these days. Oi. I told you, it drives me crazy because every time I type OY, it autocorrects it to IT. Well, I'm sorry, wrong, oi. So I have been slamming the IT every time it comes up and trying to write oi again. Then they put down, actually, I think what's happening now is they've finally accepted the fact that I don't mean it. So now when I write OY, they put in OW, ow. No, I don't mean ow. I mean oi. So anyway, back to Iowa. God help us. I don't have a lot of information on this, but 2 police officers gunned down, killed. The police there have already put out an APB and pictures of the guy they, I guess, feel quite certain did it. And lo and behold, he's a white guy. You got to believe that when people first heard 2 officers ambushed, that they thought, black person doing it. No, it's a white guy. And big shocker, it's a white racist. They're feeling their oats these days. Hello?
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike in D.C.
Hi, Mike.
I can't let a week go by without talking to the liberal Jew media.
Hey, Jew-SA!
How about that?
It's getting a little nuts, and I got to tell you, it's getting a little nuts.
And does the KKK really think that Donald Trump is going to support his grandchild because his grandchild is Jewish.
Yeah, I think the Jews are going to disown his grandchild. I'm kidding.
I know, but
I will.
They can't even critically think about the concept of the guy you're touting as the best thing that's going to bring back America has a Jewish grandchild. Your mortal enemy.
See, what people don't understand about Trump, here's my guess. He's just a total opportunist. He uses whatever is going to help him at the moment. He's using the haters more than he is one. That's my guess. He lies down with whoever he needs to lie down with. I don't know. I don't think he's ideologically necessarily anti-Semitic. I don't know. Maybe he is. But he's not like...
Good with money.
What? They're good. As he says, he when one of his places went bankrupt, one of the casinos, he tried to blame it on the fact that I guess some of the accountants were African American. And he said, "What are these people doing? I just want Jews. I want Jews with my money."
I only want Jews to count my money.
Is that it? I only want Jews to count my money. Well, thank you. That's like one of, I mean, well, thank you so much for that vote of confidence.
And then last night on the news on MSNBC, they said that 28% of the Republicans in Florida who voted already voted for Clinton. 28% of Republicans who already voted.
How do they know that?
In Florida.
Huh.
I guess they tally it as they come in.
I don't know. So, are you surprised it's that much of a number?
That's amazing.
That's almost a third.
Apparently on the news they said that there's only a 6% crossover. 6% of Democrats have voted for Trump so far in Florida.
Okay.
So
But 28%. You know, and they're saying that, oh, look, the Republicans are voting more in early voting than the Democrats, which is unusual. But hell, if you're telling me that 28% of those Republicans are voting for the Democrat, that's okay.
That's what we have to hold on to, is that they're more rational people than irrational people. I know it's a hard stretch. What other choice do you have?
We're just going to wait and see. Yeah.
And Canvas on Saturday. We're knocking on 60,000 doors on Saturday and Sunday.
I just want to tell the Hillary campaign, you do not need to have anybody knock on my door.
Too late.
Well, my God, I've had 2 knocks that I'm aware of, maybe 3.
And they're going to keep knocking until you open the door.
I know. I opened. My son opened it once. I opened it once, and they said we weren't looking for you. We were looking for your son. I said, don't worry, he's voting for you. Okay. I wasn't belligerent, but I mean, don't they check you off after they've had a successful face-to-face, so you don't have to keep? Well,
but if the person who's canvassing doesn't know that, because most of the people doors I knock on are for some kids who wait for the college, and so I said to my boss, I said, can I ask, do you know who they're going to vote for? And if they say Clinton, can I check them off? Or we're going to be knocking on these doors forever. She's like, oh yeah. If their parents say yes, then you can check it off. So maybe that's not the rule everywhere, but that's what I'm using.
Okay. Maybe they think I don't have an honest face. Who knows? All right, Mike, hang in there, and thank you for all your shoe leather work.
It's nothing. It is painfully boring and painfully tiring, but it takes me out of that malaise of...
Yeah, what can I do?
I can do, I'm powerless.
Exactly, and good for you. Good for you. Thank you. Bye. Okay, hang on. I'm just going to get these emails in. Then I want to get back to the Iowa thing. Chris writes, last night on MSNBC, they broke a story that is coming out today that of the early voting in Florida. Oh, sorry. 28% of Republicans are voting for Hillary. Well, I just heard that from someplace. And right now, of the early voting counts there, it is 48% to 41% in favor of Hillary. Trump needs Florida if he has a chance to win. So Florida must open those ballots immediately? See, we're hearing in Pennsylvania you can't open an absentee ballot or the early ballot. I'm surprised you can. I would think you don't check any ballots till everybody's voted, then you start looking. I'm confused by that. Okay. We got a call. Hello.
Hey, Lynn.
Hi.
Yeah, John from Greensboro, although I'm currently out of the area. But, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Well, I agree with several of the points you made this morning. I mean, first, I do think...
You're breaking up. That's why I can tell you're out of the area.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do believe the media is trying to emphasize this idea that it's very close, almost neck and neck, because they want ratings. That being said, I agree that turnout is crucial. I can't do the shoe leather thing because I'm not going to be in familiar territory, so I can't do it as I did last year, or last election cycle, unfortunately. But I did make a modest contribution yesterday, given my current circumstances. There has to be turnout, because not only must this threat to our democracy be defeated, but there must be a Democratic majority in the Senate. There are now 3 Republican senators on record stating they will not allow any vote on any Supreme Court justice nominee made by Hillary Clinton, or presumably ever in the future by a Democratic president.
It's really amazing.
Now, there's actually a statute, a law, a federal law, determining the number, setting the number of Supreme Court justices. There is. It's not in the Constitution, but it's a federal law passed and ratified and signed into law by the president.
But it is in the Constitution that the Senate is to sign off on the nominations for the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
That's their job.
This is why, I mean, the Republican Party, as it's currently constituted, isn't a legitimate party. It's legitimate on paper only. It's a collection of kooks and political nihilists and people with fringe political views, ideologies, and opportunists.
Well, I think,
that's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, my take on the Republican Party right now is truly it's a rogue party.
Yeah, you know, Charles Pierce, if you're familiar with him, the political writer for Esquire, published a number of
he's great.
books.
Yeah,
amazing writer, amazing commentator.
Right.
Has said as much, that there's one political party in the United States, and there's another, essentially, a sort of radical movement,
right?
You know, whose only legitimate members, you know, serve only to funnel money to, you know, very wealthy individuals and big corporations. That's their only legitimate purpose, if you want to deem it that. You know, the rest of them are engaged in all sorts of schemes and pushing ridiculous conspiracy theories and attempting to simply obstruct government.
Well, you know what, John, you're breaking up a little, but I thank you for the call, and I'm on the same page totally. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Brooklyn Rice, did you know that Pennsylvania recognizes the activity of poll watching? So much so that there are rules governing it. Donald Trump, suggesting that the election is rigged, has asked his supporters to watch the polling stations. In fact, Trump has a form on his website where you can register to be a poll watcher. The concern is that poll watchers may either intentionally or unintentionally intimidate voters. So here, Brooke says the Pennsylvania rules for poll watchers are: watchers can issue good faith challenges to individual voters based on residency or identity. Oh, for God's sakes. Watchers must remain 6 feet from the voting area and cannot interact with voters directly. They must bring prospective challenges to the judge of elections. Each party is allowed 3 watchers per polling station. poll watchers currently must live in the county in which they are operating. Brooke writes, if a Trump poll watcher challenges my registration, I'm going off on them. Yeah, I would too. Dorothea writes, I've been trying to find a way to volunteer to drive people to the polls, but that doesn't seem to be an organized activity. Really? Getting people to the polls historically benefits the Democrats. I would ask anyone with a car and the time to find voters who may be staying home for whatever reason and offer to take them to the polls. I agree, Dorothea, and I think they do organize that. Don't they? I'm assuming you're calling the campaign. Maybe you're just not getting the right person. Huh. Well. Okay. All good suggestions. Anyway, the thing about this guy who they're looking for, who they think killed the two cops, he's a terrorist, but he's white, and he's Christian. He's probably a Trump supporter. And these are the kind of people that Trump has emboldened. And he was escorted out of some football game recently because he was waving a Confederate flag in front of a bunch of black students. Oh, he's a racist. If he were black and two cops had been killed and the guy they were looking for was black, this story would be knocking off a lot more coverage than it is because he's just white. If he were Muslim and he killed those two police officers, there would be a total difference in the coverage. Think about that. The result is the same. Two police officers are dead, executed. If the perp is a white male, it doesn't rise to a big story. Has to be a black or a brown to be a big story. Hello. Oops, sorry. Okay. Yeah, Margie says I'm getting sick and tired of the DNC calling me. Yeah, I am too, and of their emails and all that. I really am. Caller. Hello. Go ahead. Hello.
Hello, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay, I've quit looking at the screen. No, I've been calling for the Democratic Party in Bethel Park, and
Can we?
they are canvassing and picking up people.
They are.
Yes. If because I've been calling for days now, and they definitely are. You know, they'll pick up people. They're canvassing and all that stuff. So, do you want my phone number?
No. We don't want to do that over the no.
Okay.
But I appreciate that. So if Dorothy just needs to maybe call some more.
Yeah, I don't have the papers in front of me, but she could call the. Well, I don't know how to. I don't have the papers in front.
Okay.
Yeah, they are doing that. So.
Okay, if you want to send it to me on email at Lynn at Pittsburgh City Paper, PGH.
Yeah, I'll go down and do that right now.
Okay, PGH City Paper. Thank you. Okay, bye. And then I can. So anyway. So. You know me, I read obituaries. I'm going to try to start something new here. Usually means we'll be getting 5,000 phone calls, but let me try. I like the obituaries, and I read one today about a guy. I think I vaguely remember hearing his name before. His name is Norman Brokaw. And he was an agent to everybody from Elvis Presley to Clint Eastwood, blah, blah, blah. Gerald and Betty Ford. He did political people. He did Hank Aaron. He did sports. He did anybody who was a big, huge celeb. He was often the person who represented their financial interest. Let's see. We're getting a call. Hello?
So I went to go see what this guy looked like, the Iowa shooter.
Yeah.
and I get a thing, police suspect in Iowa officer shootings is in custody 2 minutes ago.
Oh, good.
I don't know what the guy looks like, but I thought I'd throw that in.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
I haven't been door knocking, or I drove people to the polls in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and then again in 2012, but I don't think I'll do it this time.
Why is that?
Or door knocking or anything of that other stuff.
Oh, because
I'm a black guy.
Really?
Hi, who you voting for? I'm voting for Trump. Wow. Like, no, thank you.
See, isn't that something? Look what this guy has done.
It was bad enough in 2008 and 2012. You know.
Yeah.
The door knocking thing, and it just you could just see the anger and the frustration and the suspicion and all that kind of good stuff. But
Wonderful.
Guys are a little bit more nutty, so I decided to save my life. Let somebody else go do it.
Well, yeah. Celine was just reminding me. The KKK endorsed Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I was an inner city guy or something like that,
yeah,
walking around Wilkinsburg, I'd do it. But I'm in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, you're. I don't even call that suburbs. You're in small town America.
Yeah, I always call it small town too. Although,
it's mostly Cannonsburg's like small town America.
Yeah, Cannonsburg's definitely a small town America.
Yeah.
Although it's surrounded by South Point now.
Yeah.
It's definitely changing.
Right. It's surrounded by that relatively new urban sprawl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
All righty. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, keep your head down, and thanks for the update.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. I had a thought, and then it went out. So back to this obit, Norman Brokaw. I'm bringing it up for a reason. Because while excuse me, I'll get this out. While I was reading it, I come on this sentence. Norman was hired at the age of 15 as a mail clerk. How many times, and all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute. How many times have I read an obituary of some guy who's really made it huge, and it's like a joke. They started out as a mail clerk. And then the more you try to remember who it is that started as a mail clerk, they always start as mail clerks at entertainment organizations. Started as a mail clerk at NBC. Started as a mail clerk at some studio. Started as a mail... In the entertainment industry, it seems that being in the mailroom can really get you places. So I actually Googled this morning people who started in the mailroom. And it is a list of overwhelmingly people who started in the mailrooms of places in Hollywood or New York. And the names, Simon Cowell started in the mailroom, not in Hollywood, but at EMI Records. It's always, what is that? It must be a kind of cultural thing. That there remains this upward mobility in that field. Because let me tell you, you be in the mail room in most places these days, you ain't going anywhere. And now, the president of ESPN started in the mail room. And a whole ton of these people who are now gazillionaires started in one specific mail room. And that is of a talent agency, the William Morris Agency, which has offices in New York and in LA. And if you could get into the mail room, sorting mail, for people at William Morris, I don't know what the odds are, but you had a good shot at ending up hugely successful. Here are the people who started just in the William Morris mail room. Norman Brokaw, the guy I'm talking about, that's where he got the job. William Morris mail room. He ends up going from that to representing Elvis and all those other people. And here's the last paragraph of his obit. He once said that if he had the chance to relive his life, he would start again in the mail room, because he had gained so much from being at the bottom, in part from being able to go to the studios to pick up checks for the agency's clients. Here's a quote. I got to know everyone in town, as well as what our clients earned. Knowing that kind of information was a stepping stone to my being promoted. So when I served coffee to a group of agents having a picture meeting, one said, so-and-so got $3,000 a picture, and the other would say, no, it's 35 something. And I would be able to pipe up, sir, it's 38.50. And I was right. So I still don't understand. Was he opening the mail? He's overhearing things. So he's, as the mail clerk, and I guess if you have then ambition and are assertive, you introduce yourself to people, you this, you that, blah, 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 and maybe, you get a mentor and up you go. Here are some of the other people who started in that mail room. Helen Gurley Brown. Barry Diller, David Geffen, Mike Ovitz, I mean, those are they end up owning everything. Those guys, they started in the mail room. I'm gonna go home and tell my kid to get a job at William Morris in the mail room. I'm serious. That is a job you want. Jeez. And so when I was looking online for people who started in the mailroom, and oh, by the way, Famous Amos, the cookie guy, he started in the William Morris Agency mailroom. Wow. But the list was, I mean, a lot of the names on that list, I mean, they end up being CEOs. You don't know, they're not necessarily a household name, but it's mind-blowing. The CEO of Xerox Corporation right now is a black woman, Ursula Burns, and her first job was as an intern, unpaid intern at Xerox, okay? She took it and ran. Wow. So the thing you get from this, I think, they started in the mailroom, is that old thing about just get your foot in the door. Get your foot in the door and you just might have a shot. But it's, I think, pretty hard. Pretty hard. Okay, what we got here? 7.5 years ago, the Republicans vowed to hinder the president in every way, and they did. All that time, I vowed to never vote for a Republican. I did the same. They have completely destroyed our political system. The Koch brothers and their ilk have bought and paid for our Congress, Supreme Court, the Republicans, the media. They have bought out all liberal radio. Liberal radio? What the hell's that? They have enough think tanks changing words and ideas so they sound better. They are spending $900 million and they don't even have a candidate. They are just putting out hate Hillary ads. Well, yeah, but the Supreme Court said that that's free speech. That is free speech. Okay, so I think that's it. And may you get a job in the mailroom of the William Morris Agency. That's my wish for you. And also, may you get out and enjoy this beautiful day. You know, there's going to be a picture in the paper tomorrow, I can tell you. A picture in the paper, Post-Gazette, maybe front page, of some half-naked person sunbathing somewhere in the city, right? That's a given. We're on to them. We really are. Okay, bye, you guys. Good talking to you, and I'll be back tomorrow. And man, go Cubs! One game away, guys. Hope you do it. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.